Hi there, I'm John Mancini. I'm here on behalf of the MER conference and the MER Immerse event on January 27th, and I'm putting some information up about the event on the screen right now. And I'm really fortunate to be here with Rich Lowers from AODocs. And Rich, welcome.
Well, good morning. How you doing, John?
Fine. We're both here crack of dawn in the morning, recording a little video cast. So welcome, and we'll both try to stay awake during the course of the call. So let me start by give me a little sense of your background, and I know that Valora Technologies has been involved in helping sponsor this event. And tell me about AODocs and how that fits in, and a little bit about your background in AutoClass.
Certainly. My background is 20 plus years in the information governance industry, helping organizations know what they have, where they have it, and what they're supposed to do with it. Auto classification is a key part of any delivery of an information governance program because really nobody wants to do this work manually, right? It's not their full-time job. And being able to leverage those technologies that were really the forefront of e-discovery and now can be the leading tool for us in information governance, I think is a perfect merging of the services that AODocs also offers in content services platform, and us being able to keep that material and leverage it through business processes or through their normal life cycle of documents.
Do you think the evolution of everything that's occurred during COVID has helped accelerate sort of that migration of some of those e-discovery tools into the content space?
I would like to say yes, but truly, I think that we have a tendency to be on the bottom rung of receiving a lot of new technology, and that, eventually discovery vendors find that, in order to keep a product in a customer's premises or keep them using it, information governance is something they do every day, right? Everybody has a regulator. And, litigation events, those are very rare, hopefully, for most organizations, but regulatory events, that happens every day.
Yep. Yep. So tell me a little bit about what you consider to be the biggest benefits of embracing this kind of technology.
Well, whenever possible, eliminating humans, right? Being able to take the human error out of classification is a key part in not only ensuring reliability, but being able to make organizations feel comfortable with not only making decisions based on that data, but automating the decisions based on that data, right? What's the hardest challenge for many of our relationships with our customers, and that is convincing them to act on the information we find. And I think auto classification is a way to be able to make them feel comfortable with their guidelines, their rules, their taxonomy or their folksonomy being applied to documents so that they can feel comfortable that the things that are happening to them can happen at speed or at automation.
Do you think that rising volume of information coming into organizations, and then also the complexity and variety, is accelerating this as well?
I used to always say the volume and velocity was a big driver because it always came with costs. With costs being driven down so much, people are really not taking costs into the equation much anymore when it comes to the storage of information or the production of it. What I try to do is connect the dots to, well, it may not cost you a lot to keep it, but it's going to take you an hour to find it. And that's really the key part, right? Auto classification really is a key part of that, in that you can find it faster if you know what it is.
And that's, I think, key, because that represents perhaps a rise up the value chain a bit from pure hygiene into something that has business value as well.
Exactly.
So you lay out a convincing case. What's keeping people from doing this?
I would like to say that it's just the fact that you still need humans to implement it, right? Auto classification doesn't mean humans are not involved. It doesn't mean that you don't need knowledgeable people that know your information and can really assist in taking the information out of their brain and turning it into good business rules or good behaviors in an auto classification sense. And that really is still the challenge, right? People who know their data have a tendency to be extremely valuable in business processes and very rarely can be carved out to be doing, what most organizations consider cleanup.
Do you think that pressure, that tension, creates an increased interest in people that are effective, curators and categorizers and sort of process aware kinds of people in this equation?
I think the behavior of people as filers of having a natural organization tendency is a great skill to find within trying to find somebody that can do this type of work of assisting you in auto classification. And in fact, as close to on the spectrum as possible is best, because really that level of personal organizational intuitiveness and desire really translates well in trying to give them tools to do this automatically and be able to leverage it in their organization. And so, yeah, I think finding those types of people is hard. And when you do find them, you should use them immediately, because it's usually a very sparse commodity.
And I think I've thought about this, the marriage between that skill set and having a technology knowledge sufficient to marry the two really becomes important, because we've had some of those folks in the past that tried to do this manually and would hand off the 200-page retention schedules to people and say, go ahead and implement this. And
it's nobody's full-time job, so nobody really wants to do it. I think, I used to be the guy that said, hey, let me give you 25 folders to be able to put content into. That really is not feasible, not only because of volume and velocity of the information being created, but because nobody wants to do it. It's not a behavior that anybody usually has. So being able to provide some automation, we use it for our spam folder. Why not use the exact same techniques to be able to auto classify content that we has value to, not just the stuff we call as invaluable?
Yeah, I think you're exactly spot on that, because I think about just my own personal behavior over the years, and I should know better, and it's the last thing you want to spend time doing. And
oh, absolutely. There's a reason why I only have 2 folders, right? Because I don't really, I care more to keep it and find it with search as opposed to trying to categorize it and folderize it.
Right. And then that really puts the punctuation point on, I think, why AutoClass becomes so important moving forward, is that you have to shift that task from people to technology, and technology then leverages the skills of the people rather than is reliant upon them.
And once you get that skill set, you can push it more and more to the front end of a business process. So you're not just cleaning up behind the elephant, you're actually putting information on the front end that makes it better for the business overall in its life cycle. That's critical, not only for ROI, but also to convince people that there's value in doing it.
So if you were to look back on all of your collective years of experience in the space, and if you want to give people one piece of advice to think about as they consider moving forward with a strategy in this regard, what would it be?
I would say go ahead and when you're touching data, whether you're just moving it or you're upcycling to a new service, or you're going from on-premises to the cloud, realize that when you touch data, it's important to add value to it. And auto classification, I think, can be a really integral part when you touch data, to be able to add the value of knowing what it is, giving it some sort of a categorization of value, and then determining really what you need to do with it, whether you need to keep it or if it's time to get rid of it.
Well, Rich, thanks a lot. I really enjoyed the time together. I look forward to hearing you on the 27th. I think you're going to be doing some interesting things on that call. They're going to have a session on Ask Me Anything. Lord knows what will pop up during the session. I also rather like you. I think you're going to be doing some kind of a role-playing exercise in there, and I'm excited to hear that, because I think that's one of the missing pieces, is that when any technology is implemented successfully, you have all the stakeholders chiming in and having their concerns recognized. And I think particularly in this case, so having you guys play that game, I think, is going to be really fascinating for people.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks so much.
Bye now.